This is our starts of the week for week 7. Cody, recap week 6 for us before we dive into this week's selections.
Man, so again, I am still getting 0 forward in this game in the starts of the week. This is the chase starts of the week, but we're going to see in the next episode might be the sit starts of the week for Cody whenever we go over there. So I got real close in this one though, 61.78 to 65.26. Dak Prescott in that Monday Night Football game coming in big for me, but it wasn't enough because I did go gross at running back. I did accidentally tell some people to pick Roshan. He didn't clear his concussion protocol, unfortunately. I did put in Deonta Foreman instead, and it still wasn't enough. I didn't even give myself the goose egg. It still wasn't enough. The Mercado, I didn't think Damian Williams. I didn't honestly. Did you know he was on that team? Because I sure as hell didn't before he got elevated from the practice squad. I don't think a
Man.
lot of people did. One of the higher waiver wire pickups of this week. But the thing that kind of saved you here, I mean, Jonnu Smith, again, just smashing as a top 12 tight end. We're going to get into the rankings, but we have 2 Atlanta Falcons tight ends. It's both top 12 tight ends this
Wild.
week. Wild. And also, as we get into this a little bit further, I mean, we're on this apocalypse in week 7 right now. It's going to be hard. It is difficult to find starts of the week outside of the top 12 or 24 this week.
Yeah, it's getting more and more challenging, especially as we get into the running back position. The running back gets gross. Like we've identified the guys that are making moves, so it's kind of figuring out, is there an alternate option, or maybe there's the 40 percenters that are actually getting enough touches to get some points on the board. So running backs is always going to be tough from here on out. We've both been actually pretty good about finding some wide receivers, so we can dive into this week and potentially find some for us. So since I believe I went first last week, we're gonna have you go first this week, or even if not, you're going first, just so just to see if
I think
you
we
can
might
top me
just do
here.
it going forward. I might have the priority going forward and starts come from here on out, and you
All
have the
right.
priority going forward and sits from here on out because we need some goddamn help for each of us on either one of those sides. We're going to kick it
Let's
off here.
go.
I'm going to get us back to the quarterbacks, and I'm going to give you my first quarterback start of the week outside of the top 12. And before we get into this, I'm going to reference it a lot throughout this. We have some very bad weather again this week that's going across these games. Some of the worst ones out there, Bills versus Pats is going to be bad, 20 plus mile an hour winds. Giants versus the Commanders, 20 plus mile an hour winds and chance of rain. Lions, Ravens, same thing, 25 mile an hour winds, I think there. Cardinals, Seahawks, thunderstorms throughout the entire game, it sounds like right now. So pay attention to those. And because of all that, that's where I'm going to go. My pick of the week is Matthew Stafford here. I think he's the best quarterback that's not dealing with one of these situations that I'm going to stay away from just in terms of weather. And so I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford and the boys here out of LA to figure something out.
And just
And
hope
we
he's
got to
right.
turn that noise off right now. That is on me.
You're good. Yeah, no, Matt Stafford's. I don't mind the pick, especially with the weather concerns we have when you're picking outside the top 12. Like, yeah, you have to pay attention to literally every factor that comes into this to try and hit on some of these guys. My start is going to actually be in one of those thunderstorms, and it's just because of the potential that we've seen with his legs. I'm not going to go with Danny Dimes. I was thinking of going with Daniel Jones if he's healthy, and so like. I think I'm going to take Jones if he's healthy, but I'm also going to announce my other pick is Josh Dobbs. Just putting it out there, and Seattle's defense has gotten better over the past few weeks against the pass, but it's a divisional rival. I could see Dobbs trying to utilize his legs, get an open space. So I am going to say like Danny Dimes, if he's playing, is going to be my pick against Washington. I will say that we'll put Dobbs on here just in case he's not, and just with the assumption that he's not. So Josh Dobbs, I just think that he's done enough. He's had some good games, had some bad games, and I'm just going to bank on this one here against Seattle and hope the matchup comes through, or that he has the ability to get 58 on the ground, maybe a little bootleg for a touchdown. Like, give me one of those.
There you go. I honestly thought you were going to pivot to the other side of the game, though, and take Sam
Thought about it.
Howell as the replacement one. I actually thought you were going with Sam Howell from the get-go instead of Daniel Jones instead. But no, both two quarterbacks. I mean, I think both of these guys weekly could finish inside that top 12, but they probably do need a little bit of extra help. Stafford probably not with the legs, but getting those passing touchdowns instead of the rushing touchdowns. And honestly, they don't really have a running back right now. So maybe that's probably the only way they can really move the
Maybe.
ball. Josh Dobbs, hey, sounds like Kyler's going to be back, so he's got to play for a job coming up here. Maybe get one of those like Jacoby Brisket type of
Yeah.
performances to try to secure a job here. He's looked pretty serviceable over these first weeks, even though it hasn't turned into many wins for him. Do like those picks. We're going to get into the running backs, though. And there was only one for me that really stood out here as I pulled them up and talking through this one, but the only one that I even felt slightly comfortable about, and I've never felt good about putting him into any starting lineup, it's A.J. Dillon against the Denver defense that is the worst in literally almost every single metric across the board. They're also the worst against running backs in terms of giving up fantasy points to the running back position. And so A.J. Dillon is going to be my first guy that is a start of the week outside of the top 24. And as I say that, I did these last night. He's actually moved to 24th
It's fine.
overall,
We're
but
we're,
I'm
we're gonna
still
leave
going
it.
to take him.
We're gonna leave it. We're gonna accept. I was looking at that too. It's all good. Close enough. AJ Dillon's been one of those guys. He's a fringe top 24, anyways. So perfectly fine with it. So I do like that pick. Denver's defense has just been a gaping hole, and it's been awful. But Denver's offense seems to love Jaleel McLaughlin, and I think I'm going to go back here again. Like they showed that they had no problem utilizing him in the backfield with Javonte. So he's going to be kind of like their passing down back is what it seems like they're using him as. So happy to have that, give him a few touches on the ground. He's been efficient when he's gotten touches like actual carries. So I haven't minded what Jalil has done. And I think I'm going to just take him here again. He didn't get a touchdown last week, which is what I was, kind of banking on and hoping on. But he has that potential to catch one. And then still, averaging around 4 to 5 yards a carry on the ground has been pretty good for what this backfield's been doing.
Yeah, he was actually going to be my second one. I was going to play both sides of this game at the running back position if you didn't take him. So definitely good on you for sniping me on that one. We're now going down to, obviously we're posting this after the Thursday night games, and you can't pick Alvin Kamara or Travis Etienne anyway because ESPN's Thursday night game rankings are messed up. So those two are completely out. But find me another running back on here outside of the top 24 that you feel comfortable about. And you have to battle with just injuries as well for a lot of these guys. It is brutal in the streets in week 7.
It is.
But I'm going to go back to a guy who, in one of these bad weather games, they've said that they kind of shown that they don't really trust their main guy, which is interesting after the time that he spent with them. But I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott going up against the bruised and beaten Buffalo Bills. I think this could be a game much like that win game we saw from them a couple of years back now, I think it was. Maybe we get another one of those games where it's just all ground, and I think they trust Ezekiel Elliott over Ramondre Stevenson at this point.
Man, oh man, oh man! You put me in a tough spot here. Zeke, I don't mind it. Buffalo's defense is so freaking good, though.
They were
Buffalo
when they were
defense,
healthy, and they're not healthy
yeah,
anymore. They gave up
that's true.
132 rushing yards in their last outing.
That's fair. It's totally fair. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out. They are going to have to ground and pound it, and the Patriots know exactly how to do that. That's just in their DNA. So I don't mind that pick at all. I'm actually just going to go right around here, and I'm just going to take one Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, got more involved last week. Just kind of bank on a touchdown out of him as well. He's gotten enough work, or he got enough work to kind of prove that he's going to get touches. 12 for 47 last week. He did get involved in the passing game as well, 3 for 24. He did have the touchdown that he got against the 49ers. So if he was doing it against that 49ers defense, I feel confident about him going up against the Seattle Seahawks defense. So,
and they're going against the Indianapolis Colts, who are a susceptible defense in almost every facet as well. I think they're in the top 20s in terms of giving up points to the running backs. There you go.
All right. Appreciate the save there. Holy cow. All right. So let's dive into our wide receiver picks here. You get the first shot. Where are you going for your first wide receiver pick?
All right. This one, I got to make sure that he is still outside of the top 24. And one of my other ones, they took him off the board from me. They finally gave Jordan Addison the respect because yesterday, whenever I was doing these, he was outside of the top 24. He was at 25. And I put in my notes, out of principle, I have to take him first. But no longer. He's inside the top 23, and I've got plenty of pivots at wide receiver this week. The first one of those is going to be I think it's a trap game. I really think it's a trap game because it's been
Uh-oh.
showing out well for this offense and this team, and they're going against a good defense. But I have to buy into it. I think I have to buy in. Could maybe my wide receiver one in last year's class, Drake London, maybe this offense is actually
Ooh.
finally turning it around and using their playmakers. Drake London being outside the top 24 with what that team has put on the field the last couple weeks, admittedly against some weaker defenses. I'm going to buy into it. Might burn me, but I think Drake London is too good of a player if this keeps up to be outside the top 24, especially in a bipocalypse week.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick at all. I do think Drake London, finally showed out, finally had that opportunity to shine last week. So it was great seeing that out of him. I'm actually going to go to, and I feel like this is more or less a home run bet, but I'm going to go to a game that the Denver defense has been awful. It just really has, and I think Christian Watson's just going to have a smash game here. Denver gives up so many big plays. Christian Watson is a big play machine. It just feels like it's a recipe for disaster for this Denver defense. So, yeah, Christian Watson gonna have to start him this week. I feel pretty confident about it in my lineup leagues. Obviously, best ball, you're just gonna ride it out if it's a boom. But Christian Watson should have a very, very good game against the Denver Broncos.
Do like that one. Definitely higher up. I just need a AJ Dillon game instead of a Christian Watson game this weekend. So probably not a great bet for me to be making there, but I had to pick a running back and I figured it was better used there. So I don't mind the pick at all. Now you've got me a little bit. I got two, and I wish I had two more picks that I could use on both of these guys because I have narratives for each of them. I'm going to give it to you either way, depending on which one I pick. I've just got to choose one as I'm stalling here and talking through things without really making a decision at all. But I think I'm going to go with the one who actually does have more upside, just kind of like you did. And it doesn't feel like this should be what the upside shot is. But I'm going to go with Josh Palmer in his matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. He is playing as the legitimate wide receiver two for this offense. Quentin Johnston is on an absolute milk carton, an absolute useless burn of a first-round pick that's been, I feel like he has maybe like 4 targets or something. I mean,
It's not pretty, man.
he's basically the J-Mo of last year. Like, this is how bad it is for this guy right now. I still have hope that he can get there, but right now, this is Joshua Palmer's secondary role, and I think the Chiefs are going to key in on Keenan Allen. I think this could open it up for Joshua Palmer, and he's going to be my wide receiver start of the week, second one.
Yeah, no, I enjoy that pick. I really do. Joshua Palmer is, I think, gets slept on far too often. They love to pass in LA, and that's what they're going to do. Like Josh Palmer is going to be very involved in that offense. So really like that pick. And in fact, I like it so much. I'm going on the opposite side of this game, and I'm actually going to take Rashee Rice.
Nice.
Rashee Rice has been more involved. I mean, again, it's the Chiefs. It's not like he's going to be getting himself, 10 to 15 targets. He's not Tyreek Hill, but he has been involved. He's had 7 targets, 4. Like he's been more involved over the weeks. Had 72 yards on 4 targets last week. I do think that he is going to be that guy that kind of steps up. And this Chargers defense has just been mediocre at best. So I'd like the matchup. I like both of these teams throwing quite a bit. So I think both of these could be really good smashes for Josh Palmer and Rashee Rice.
Do love all of those, but I feel
I
so
want to hear
bad.
your other guy. I want to hear
feel
your
so
other.
bad that I couldn't put him in there because I feel like it is disrespectful for the amount of disrespect that we give one guy because of another guy who is coming back
Oh,
off of IR for the first time this week, being ranked 25th, right outside of that top 24. Deontay Johnson in his comeback game to show up George Pickens and show him who the true alpha is in this offense. I mean, that's just a football god's narrative bet that Deontay Johnson is going to come back 4 full weeks to heal his hammy. He probably only needed 2 or 3. He's going to come back out there and show George Pickens that he's a secondary Gabe Davis-esque wide receiver, and Deontay Johnson is back to run this offense. Unfortunately, the only reason I can't pick it is because Matt Canada is still the offensive coordinator of this team, and Kenny Pickett's throwing him the ball. And like that's the reason I can't do it. So it's unfortunate that I couldn't put him in. I just felt better about some other ones with a higher upside.
Yep.
But Deontay Johnson, welcome back to the NFL, bud.
Yeah, welcome back. He very well could have 11 targets, 8 catches, and like 70 yards just because of how efficient that offense is. And I mean, that would be a great week, right? In PPR, you're getting 15 points out of that. I do like the Deontay pick. I think that's a good one too. So again, honorable mention for starts this week. Where are you going with tight end?
Well, I had a couple here, but because of some ways that I went with some wide receivers and some other things in this offense, I have some positive reports. We got a practice in from a quarterback who's been out for a little while. Deshaun Watson was practicing this week for the first
Ooh.
time. I'm hoping that he can make it back and be fully healthy for this team. I'm going to go with the guy. Anytime you're outside the top 12 at tight end, you're just praying for some dart throws. I think David Njoku is a little bit more than that, but you really are probably just hoping for a fall into the end zone along with about 5 for 45 game. So that's what I'm hoping for out of David
Cool.
Njoku this week.
Cool. I'm so happy you picked that one because that was not my guy, and I had one guy I really wanted to highlight. So, very excited to be able to pick the tight end one of the 2023 rookie class, Michael Mayer. I am throwing
He's
Michael
finally
Mayer.
here.
He's finally here, man. Like he's finally getting involved in this offense. And I think the best thing is like we're having the quarterback conundrum that's going on with Las Vegas. Whoever's going to be throwing the ball, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be Hoyer, but like whatever's going to happen, I don't care. Whoever's quarterback, like they're going to be checking down, they're going to be finding Michael Mayer. He got very involved finally the past couple of weeks. And to top it off, his Bears matchup this week, they're a bottom 5 unit against the tight end. So if Michael Mayer is going to find ways to get open, he had 6 targets with 5 receptions for 75 yards last week. Hopefully he can get himself another 6 to 7 targets this week. They do like to involve the tight end in this offense, and so he's going to be on the field. And if he can get open, we're going to see another big week out of him. So I'm going to take my bet on Mayer.
Yeah, I loved Mayer.
Yep.
He was still my tight end one.
Yes, he
Still my
was.
tight end one throughout the entire process. It was never Kincaid. It was never Laporta, which on me probably should have been Laporta, but nobody had Laporta as the tight end one, okay, except for Iowa Michael over there at South Harmon. So
he was the one. He was the one that was just
only
talking
one.
that up.
And I don't even think he actually had him as tight end one. He was just doing a little bit of homerism. But man, obviously you can't pick Sam Laporta, so I'm fine taking the other tight end one because it's certainly not Dalton Kincaid.
Yep. Make sure let us know what your thoughts are on some of these starts and sits of the week, where we're going so far this season. This has been my show, the starts, but the sits, go check it out. Cody has done his thing with the sits, so it's kind of crazy how we're both really good at one of these. So one of us is going to be really good at this. But yeah, make sure you comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for joining us here in the Fantasy Draft Room.